So do you remember all of that noise about the BOI reporting requirements for virtually every LLC and corporation in the United States? You know, the law that would cost your business up to $500 per day in penalties, up to 2 years in jail time, and up to $10,000 in additional fines under the Corporate Transparency Act. Well, a federal district court in Texas has now found that the act is likely unconstitutional and issued an order prohibiting the act and the beneficial ownership information rule altogether. However, FINCEN, who mandates the BOI rule, has stated that the Department of Treasury is appealing this order, leaving millions of business owners wondering whether or not they need to file this report. So, as a licensed CPA that has reviewed this court order in detail, and as someone who tax plans every day for business owners at mycpacoach.com, I want to help you understand the potential implications of this ruling for you. So let's dive in. Okay, so if you do not know, this dilemma started when the federal government created a new rule requiring every LLC and corporation to file a report that discloses information about your company and its owners, called the BOI, or Beneficial Ownership Information Report. And this was originally passed in 2021 as an anti-money laundering initiative in an attempt to prevent financial crimes related to things like money laundering and tax evasion, for example. Now, complying with this rule was actually quite simple. In a previous video, I showed you how to file this report in less than maybe 5 to 10 minutes, so it's a pretty easy report to complete. For the most part, it just asks for basic information about the company's owners, like their identification, their current address, and the type of business they were running. But still, there were several concerns about this requirement. For one, millions of small business owners probably to this day still have no clue about this requirement, leading them to be non-compliant from day one and subject to penalties. And two, there were a number of privacy-related concerns related to the government collecting this type of information, as many business owners prefer to be anonymous in the businesses that they own or operate. Now, eventually, this led to a number of lawsuits, with the most significant one arguing that the act was unconstitutional, which a U.S. district court seemingly agreed with due to the ruling of their case. They issued a preliminary injunction that temporarily halts the enforcement of the Corporate Transparency Act and the BOI reporting requirements. Now, the key words here are preliminary injunction and temporary halt. So this does not mean that the BOI reporting requirement is officially over for good at this time. In fact, many business owners are still filing BOI reports on FinCEN's website despite the ruling. But the number one question people have right now is, well, do I have to do this? Well, according to FinCEN themselves, they state that the BOI reporting requirement has been affected by a recent court order and that they are appealing that order. But in the meantime, reporting companies are not currently required to file a BOI report and therefore are not subject to liability if they fail to do so while the applicable order remains in place. And they state that reporting companies can still file a BOI report. So this means that as of the time of this video, and while this court order is in effect, you are not required to file a BOI report, and it appears to be that case nationwide. And it appears that this order will likely be in place until either A, the court issues a final ruling, or B, the injunction is lifted by the court, or C, the injunction is appealed and reversed, which seems to be the plan of action for the Department of Treasury. Now, only time will tell how that will unfold, but for now, owners of LLCs and corporations are not subject to these rules due to the injunction and can now instead focus on more important matters in their business as opposed to this type of red tape. And hopefully that will remain the case, but I will be sure to update you on our channel as soon as more information becomes available. So make sure you subscribe to stay in the loop on this. And if you own a business and you pay a lot of money in taxes and want a plan that is guaranteed to reduce it, just apply to work with one of my CPAs today at mycpacoach.com.